Welcome to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to us on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer. Happy Thursday to you. This is our Education and Media Day, and we have a great guest, a graduating local senior here on the program to talk about, well, what interests her and what she's been doing in our community. And I hope as we do this, and I hope throughout the graduation season, we love bringing students, local students on because we are the hyper-local news radio program. And so, how better to feature the best and the brightest, which is what they call it in the Gazette. That's how we've been finding out about these students. Thank you to the Gazette for doing these articles. But what we get to do, because we're not a newspaper, you can actually hear from them yourself. And so we're really, really excited about that. And we'll be introducing her in a moment. Here on the Peak, we say the quiet stuff out loud. What does that mean? Well, in real journalism, you have to ask tough questions and you have to get the good answers and you have to go after stories. And we've really not seen that so much throughout our country, locally. You know, we're all, I think, disenchanted. I guess that's a good word with the media. And how can we trust the information if we don't trust those who are giving it to us? And that's why this citizen journalism project that we have here, grassroots project called the Peak News, is so powerful because as we bring on local people, these are people in the neighborhood. And when we bring on local reporters to tell you about things, they're our neighbors too. And there's really a responsibility for all journalists, but it really comes home when you live with the people that you're reporting on, when you have to see them, because one, well, we're all in this together. Two, we can check out what you're saying. If we're lying about stuff, well, we're going to find out about it because you were probably at that meeting or you know something about that item. And so this is our goal, is to bring trust back to the media in our region first, and then who knows where this can go as the media, traditional media, is crumbling, and something new is coming out of it. And we're excited to be on the forefront of that nationally, locally, of what's going on nationally and worldwide. Now, today is the National Day of Prayer, and so there are still events going on around the area at different churches and other locations this evening. So if you want to take part in that, just go Google it, National Day of Prayer, Colorado Springs, and join in what's going on. I know the Road Church is having something, and other churches, First Presbyterian, are having things this evening. And this is really, really powerful for our nation. Our nation was started with prayer, and we should continue to do so as this is taken out of the public forum. I don't think things have been getting better. And it's always good for us to get together and get of one mind. That's really, really powerful to do. So I encourage you to take part in something today. I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors. Thank you for supporting us, especially when it's the first of the month. That's when we have to pay Salem Media for this show. And so a real thank to our sponsors. And if you would, when you're listening to the ads, really listen to them and patronize these sponsors. You can go on our website, thepeak.news, find out more about them. We have hot links to all of their sites. And a special shout out to Springs Dentists and Dr. Craig Summer, Holistic Dentistry in Colorado Springs, our platinum sponsor. Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit later on in the program, but to let you know that as part of our internship program here and our educational initiative, we are going to be teaching broadcast journalism and media ethics and plugging it into an internship here at the Peak. And right now, for those who are going to be juniors and seniors, whether you're in D11, another school district, even homeschoolers, you can take part in this program. For all the information to learn how to enroll, go to our website, thepeak.news, and check out the D11 CTE link, which is for career training. So here on Media and Education Thursday, our guest, our featured graduate, about to be graduate, Ahana Paul of Rampart High School. She's a National Merit Scholarship winner, AP Scholar with Distinction, and she'll be attending Stanford University in the fall for human biology. Ahana Paul, thanks so much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here, and congratulations to you. And we're going to be talking about breaking barriers in K through 12 education, including improving access to youth health care and education, and also animal conservation, which is something that Ahana is very passionate about, and in fact is going to be having an event with her nonprofit And you got to stick around to learn more about that. When we come back, we have headlines, and Jordan Baldwin, our lead investigative journalist, is going to be on because two big stories. Sean Matthews, who's involved in tangentially to all this thing, this Mayor Yemi hate crime hoax controversy. He was acquitted yesterday, and we're talking about that. And also up at the Capitol, House Bill 1312. There was a lot of testimony yesterday, and Jordan will be getting into that when we come back on the Peak. So you can chill for this segment. This day, May 1st, in the year 305 and then we'll bring you back for that monologue. Emperor Diocletian stepped down James, you there? Just 2 years prior, he began the most systematic persecution of Christians, intending to exterminate them once and for all. He forbade worship, burned books, arrested the clergy, and demanded that everyone sacrifice to pagan deities or be killed. From Europe to northern Africa, countless believers became martyrs to the faith. Suddenly, Diocletian was struck with a painful disease. He abdicated his throne and took up farming in Yugoslavia.
This has been an American Minute with Bill Federer. For a free transcript, call American Minute at 1-888-USA Word.
Mayweather Boxing and Fitness is a high-energy, instructor-led workout designed by undefeated boxing great Floyd Mayweather. Our classes combine boxing, cardio, endurance, and strength training to get you stronger, increase energy, and build confidence. Wherever you are in your fitness journey, come join our thriving community for a
Back to me. During the monologue, you'll have about 4 minutes, so I'll give you 3, 2, 1, and this means 30 seconds. So that'll give you time to like self-edit as you go, figure out how much you're tracking on, and then finish with that. If you come up short, I'll ask you a follow-up question, but try to fill the time. If you hear music, when you hear music, if you're still talking, that's my 30-second warning for the commercial. So if you ever hear music, you really got to finish up and give it back. Otherwise, talk radio is really people listening into like a good conversation, like in a coffee shop, some people interesting. So we keep the energy up, bring an intensity that feels sort of like stage acting. It's a little bit over the top because you only have voice. So voice is all that's carrying it. So it'll feel maybe a little unnatural, but that's good. Also, like radio theater, any emotion, poignant pauses, or that it has to be vocalized. Hand motions, facial expressions don't make it through the microphone. So if you want to make it a little more dynamic to express what you're doing, just bring that emotion into your voice. Smiling, concern, all those different kind of things have to be vocalized. And lastly, since I'm watching the timing, if I hold up a finger or two, I'm giving you a time budget. No, I'm not telling you to stop. So like, hey, meaning like take about a minute on that one for that period of time, and so that way we can just keep things tracking and pacing. So okay, we're back. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to us on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer. This is our headline segment, and we have a guest in studio, and often we do the headlines with the guest, but sometimes there's news stories where, and this is actually how we've planned to do things as we get more citizen journalists out there, is to do more reports. And so we have Jordan Baldwin on the line, and we'll be back with Ahana Paul, our guest for the hour in the next segment, Rampart High School student. So Jordan, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hey, great to hear you, Jordan. Jordan is all over the place. He's trying to cover everything, and he's starting to work with our citizen journalists, so that's really cool. And thank you for doing that, Jordan, and helping to raise up more investigative journalists. We certainly need it, as we found out from that, what I've been calling an ICE bust, but it was more of a DEA bust at that nightclub, that there's a lot of things going on in the city that we don't talk about, and that are obviously need to be talked about. So, as we get more people in, how has this been working with you, working with these newbies?
I think it's been great. Just meeting with them, seeing what their style is, what they're passionate about, and what their angles are, and just working with them on how they can improve, and kind of sticking to our program of our citizen journalist model and our ethics program. It really has helped them as a guide to help guide them through this process, because it's not always easy with these controversial topics to report on anything that's controversial, but let alone what we've been hearing lately. So I'm very proud of the work that they're doing, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do in the future.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to getting those reports very soon. So we were today, you were up at the Capitol yesterday, as was I. We broadcast from up there, and the big thing that was going on, there were hundreds of people up there, multiple, I think there were like 600 people that signed up to testify regarding this HB 1312 bill, this transgender protection bill, that was being considered before the Senate Judiciary Committee, because it has already been passed by the House. It seems that there are some amendments taking place, so it'll go back to the House. So we're going to get into that and your impressions. You were talking to people who were up there, and also you got involved in a little bit of controversy up there too with your recording, but we'll hold off on that, because a story that we've been covering for a long time, which is a very intricate story, and we've been waiting for the trials to happen. This Mayor-Yemi hate crime hoax story, where our mayor was accused of knowing about a hate crime hoax that was perpetrated during the election for mayor. And one of the big players, Derek Bernard, in that, who actually has been sentenced to life in prison for hiring someone to murder a local rapper. Well, we were always questioning, how in the world could he go to jail when the person himself who was accused of the murder hasn't even gotten to trial? And how is that possible? Well, now there's a real big question, because Sean Matthews went to trial. He's the one accused of murdering Flyjack. He was acquitted yesterday of the murder. And so that's news we want to share with everybody, and I'd like you to fill in some details on that. But then the big question is, how can Derek Bernard actually be in jail for life for hiring the person who didn't murder the other guy? How does our court system work like that? Jordan, fill us in and try to make some sense of this, because I know you've been working on it for a long time.
So from what I understand, Derek states that he was set up, that the trial wasn't fair, and that he did not do this. Now that being said,
hiring. He's not accused of the murder, but of hiring the murder.
Correct. That he did not set up this murder, and he wouldn't have done that. So my understanding is that on a charge like that, you don't necessarily have to have an act itself. We could look at maybe a situation where an undercover officer is catching somebody on a murder for hire case, something like that. So you don't. I don't believe you necessarily have to have the act itself, but in the conspiracy, we see this other case, and the jury found sufficient evidence to find Matthews guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, but they didn't find him guilty of murder itself. So that's very interesting because I think that, I mean, there maybe is some room to leave these two things and leave as is, and hey, he did this, and this is what he planned. But my question is, did this put pressure on the jury regarding the conspiracy charge, and what would it have meant if they had found him not guilty of conspiracy?
So you're continuing. Do we know when Bernard's trial is going to be happening?
Yeah, that's going to be May 13th. He's got a trial coming up, so we'll be up there reporting on that, and that's his next hearing. I don't know that that's an actual trial date. That might be a pre-trial hearing, but we're going to be up there nonetheless. And there's just been a lot of changes with this behind the scenes. Some of it's sealed, some of it's public.
Right.
So we're trying to track this as much as we can.
And if people wonder, why we haven't been talking about it much, why back at the beginning in November, December, we were on it so much, is because of the trials, a lot of the information is sealed. These people don't want to talk because they're going to trial. So we're waiting to find these things out, and also to see whether Mayor Yemi himself will be called in the trial to testify. So that will be interesting. So in the time that we have left, Jordan, tell us about what you saw up at the Capitol yesterday over this HB 1312. There were a lot of people. There was a big protest, people against it, and most of the people up there testifying were against it.
Yes, I'd say that the collective effort to organize against this bill, and the contrast from last year that we saw on bills like this, is just stunning. I was blown away just to see the difference. And, I mean, just from an unbiased perspective, to see that people are actually showing up and they care, I think that's pretty encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
And then, again, just to see the difference, because last year we saw a lot of censorship. As some of you may know, there was a lawsuit around some censorship issues in some of these same committees with these same...
Meaning that the committees were not letting people talk.
Correct.
Yeah.
They were gaveling people down during testimony, and there's a lot of controversy. So this year, some of those same representatives, just yesterday, I was able to catch in the hall. We had a great conversation. They let me interview them. And I think things are going a lot better this year. I really do. I think that conversation is happening. There is a lot of tension, but at the same time, there's people showing up to voice their opinion. There's not just a few, which is what we saw last year, but there's a lot. And there's people actually getting out and engaging in the process. So that's good to see.
And I was told there were like over 600 people who signed up to testify.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And basically what I had also heard is that last night, that was more people that they had signed up than ever before in the history of the Senate Judiciary.
Wow.
So that's pretty powerful, I think, because that right there within itself says that this is a history-making thing. Things are changing at the very least. And I know that there's been a lot of concern in Colorado around legislation in general.
And I want to get to this quick. I want to get to this because I told people there was something controversial that happened, but I just want people to say I think the big thing that people are upset about is taking away parents' rights. Not about protecting transgender people, but about the way this would actually take away rights from parents. Have about 30 seconds. Tell us about the controversy.
So I was walking the halls while I was covering the committee last night, and Brandy Bradley was harassed basically by a member of the Parasol Patrol, and they escorted this member of the Parasol Patrol out, and we captured that all. We were the only ones there to capture it. It was an exclusive, and that was actually something that helped the police to investigate further. So we were glad to be out there, and we hope you can continue to support our work because we're going to continue to say the quiet stuff out loud.
Sometimes Jordan and our team are the only ones there, and we do like helping, give evidence. Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
There's only the good stuff at Dad's Donuts. Say goodbye to artificial additives and say hello to real ingredients. Come see why everyone's talking about Dad's Donuts. Their signature 109-layer donuts, a delightful marriage of a donut and croissant, are meticulously crafted over a 4-day process. With no preservatives, dyes, or additives, their heavenly croissant-style donuts are a labor of love. It's all good at Dad's back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to us on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer. No, we say the quiet stuff out loud. We don't lie to you here. There's too much competition in that. We decided we'll just give you information, let you make up your own mind. And we'd love you to join us here at the Peak News as a citizen journalist and working with Jordan Baldwin. If you want to get into investigative journalism, there's a lot of stories out there. We'll provide you with the platform and the training. So come join us here, get more information, and sign up at thepeak.news. That's our website. Well, we have here on Education and Media Thursday, Ahana Paul, Rampart High School student, National Merit Scholarship finalist, AP Scholar with distinction, and she's heading for Stanford University this fall to study human biology. And this is the section of the show where we turn it over for like an op-ed piece to our guest. And Ahana is talking about improving access to youth health care and education. Ahana Paul. Excellent. Thank you. So this Youth Healthcare Alliance, that's something people can get involved in also? Okay, you're listening to Ahana Paul, about to graduate Rampart School and head off to Stanford. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Ahana more about disparities in education and how we can help solve them as a community. You're listening to The Peak, and we'll be right back. Excellent. So this is just a 2-minute break. So we're on to segment 4. We can review the questions there. And we'll work our way through the segment, but just approximate that. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to us on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer, part of the Salem Network here in Colorado Springs. And this is Education and Media Thursday. And before we get back with our guest, because it is Education Day, I really want to let you know, as we move with the Peak and continue to progress with our vision for really making this a community, not just a community service, but a community grassroots organization, that we had Michael Gall, who's the superintendent of D11, on the show about a year ago, and we started talking about ways of bringing this program into the schools. And guess what? It's happening, coming up for the fall semester starting in August. I, as well as colleagues of mine who actually work in the industry, yes, not just those who can't teach, no, that's not good. Those who are working every day in the industry need to teach. And so we're going to be teaching a broadcast journalism CTE, which is Career and Technical Education Training in D11 at the Wasson campus. Really exciting, the program that we're putting together, because not only does it teach things like journalistic ethics and what you need, how to write compellingly and things like that, and technical training, but we're plugging it into an internship here at the Peak. And so students right now, for juniors and seniors, and it doesn't have to be D11, it can be any school district, it could be homeschoolers, really anyone in the state, if they want to come, can be part of this program. And we invite you, if you're a student or you're a parent or grandparent of someone who's a student, please get the word out, and you can go to our website. All the information is on there. Thepeak.news is the website. There's a link to D11CTE. Look into it, check it out, and there's information on there about how to enroll, and please do that soon. We'd love to have you be part of this course. And by the way, the skills of journalism, being able to research information, think about it critically, and communicate it effectively and ethically, that's like a skill for everyone. And we all need that skill. But there's a lot of professions, marketing, PR, even, medical research, legal, law enforcement, tons. We actually list a lot of them on the site. So don't just think, I don't want to be a journalist. Think about getting these skills, and it's also high school and college credit, which is really, really cool. So back to our guest, Ahana Paul, who's a Rampart High School student about to graduate, national National Merit Scholarship finalist, AP Scholar with distinction, and heading for Stanford University this fall to study human biology. Again, Ahana, thanks so much for being here today. So you're the daughter of Indian immigrants, who've been here quite a while, but you're first generation born American, and you're a practicing Sikh, the only one in your class. So fill us in on your background. So it's Sikh, not Sikh? Which is the correct one? Okay. 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 I get to learn stuff too on the show. So when did you start noticing these disparities in education and want to start doing something about it here locally? Flip the switch. So what are some of these disparities that you're seeing locally? Who's impacted? So what have you been doing personally to help solve these issues, and how do you recommend we as a community here in El Paso County, Pikes Peak region, that we go about solving them? this is the We Are organization. You started a nonprofit, which is fantastic, because that's really like a hobby here in the Springs. I think almost everybody has a nonprofit in Colorado Springs. Like you get one with your birth certificate, I think so. So tell us about the organization itself. Okay, and the website for that is weare-youth.org. Weare-youth.org. So you have an event actually tomorrow, a charity dance for the benefit of homeless youth and animal conservation. That's an interesting mix. So tell us about that. About a minute. Okay, and this is taking place tomorrow. What time? At Academy International Elementary School, and you can get more information about that. Go to different social media sites like Instagram, put in weare_youth.org, weare_youth.org to find out more about that. And the main website, weare-youth.org. When we come back with Ahana Paul, who's about to graduate from Rampart High School and head off to Stanford University, we're going to be talking about animal conservation. You're listening to The Peak. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. It's Education and Media Day, and we will be right back. Excellent. Okay, this is a 3-minute break. So, what should I ask you here? Usually it's sort of like a what and a why or a what and a how kind of question. What do you want to get into? We have about 4 minutes. So this was a podcast? Okay. Okay. So you want to talk about animal cruelty? And what else? What else to go into the topic? So I can like, do you know what types of things they generally find with animal cruelty here? Okay. What can we do? And is there a specific organization? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So he's talking about him losing the election, like his election, the city council election. Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's who the benefit is. The money's going to. Or? Okay. Well, you said a charity dance for animal conservation, so there's not any specific beneficiary of that. pre-recorded segment. So when we get down to it, if you see me wrap it up, we definitely need to hold to that timing because I have to say thank you to you and promote, give your website again, and then throw to the recorded segment. Cool. Been enjoyable? Okay, sure, absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Well, you can tell. I'll give you flyers. I'll have Zach send you an electronic thing if you tell people that are going to be juniors and seniors to get involved in this because they could be doing this all the time. They're actually looking at possibly doing a podcast studio at Wasson. Welcome back to the Peak News on Education and Media Thursday. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. And I want to give a shout out. You just heard an ad spot for Mayweather Boxing and Fitness. I want to give a shout out to them because part of the promotion is a gym membership for me. And I've been going down and doing a boxing workout. And it's really fun. If you've never done boxing workouts, it's really great. They do cardio, mixture of cardio and boxing, and they have classes that are led by instructors. And it's really good. 45 minutes, you're in and out. And I love it. It also, any of that sort of stress or anger, whatever, take it out on the bag, not on other people. But check out, go to Mayweather.fit and go in for your free workout. It's over at Prominent Point at Powers and Briargate. And so a shout out to them and thanks. It's been really great to have them as a sponsor, not just for the advertising, but for me. Because on the radio, you get flabby over time, sitting here in the booth. So it's good to get out. Well, we're doing our final segment with Ahana Paul, Rampart High School student. Found out about her in the Best and Brightest. That you can check that out in the Gazette. They're featuring a lot of high school students, and we plan on having more high school students on throughout this graduation season. We touched on animal conservation as one of Ahana's passions, and there's a charity dance tomorrow night at Academy International Elementary School, and part of that is a benefit to animal wildlife conservation. So tell us, what in the area when you're finding out is it generally pets? Is it actual wildlife that people are doing things to? What problems do we have here? Because really we're a community that's supposed to love the outdoors and love nature. So what's going on out there that we should know about that's not good? Was it mostly people just not tending to their pets, leaving them outside uncared for, or what? Or is there dog fighting going on? Like, what do we? so much for all the things that you've been involved in. We'll miss you heading off to Stanford, being here. But you know, you said you've lived here your whole life, so this is exciting. Absolutely. So the website again, weare-youth.org for their nonprofit and their podcast there, and also the charity dance that's going on tomorrow night. You can check them out on social media. Well, now, as always, finishing up the show and finishing up the week with Jim Miller, just a guy. Jim ran for mayor and recently ran for city council. He lost, so now Jim is ranting about his post-election thoughts. Just a guy, Jim Miller.
Not be a career. I actually already knew this, but I hope you learn this too. So politics should not be a career. It should be a burden like jury duty, okay? That's what this should be. It shouldn't be some good old boys, good old girls club. Most of these people that are running in politics and love it are what? They are like WWE, WWF characters, man. It is a facade. It is a character thing. They say they're about something, but really, let's not sugarcoat it. They're not, because if their friends, family, or anybody else that they're associated with does something that they're supposed to not be about, they're like, well, I know them, it's fine. That's some filthy business right there. What else have I been learning with all this political stuff? Hey, the establishment, the system, the government does a nice, cute little three-prong kind of thing here. Three-prongers here. It does what? It will try to schedule you out from participating in government stuff. That's why there's city council meetings Tuesday at 11. Sounds pretty jacked up, doesn't it? Where are you at Tuesday at 11? You're at work or maybe trying to eat lunch or breakfast, or if you work longer shifts, a dinner, okay? They price you out. They make everything expensive, a tax, a fee, some kind of fine, or other nonsensical garbage, or they discourage you from participating in the first place because they go, hey, man, they want you to have it in the mindset of going, what does it matter what I do? They're going to screw me anyways. These are just some of the most recent things that I have learned with what's going on with this political environment locally right here in Colorado Springs. I think it's despicable, disgusting, and very distasteful, and I think it needs to change. So this is just my call to action that I will continue to run until I win a position so we can have a representative in local politics. Politics is the only thing where I've seen the crap has to roll uphill. Make it better locally, and you can make it better county, state, and federally. Remember, if you want it better, be better. I'm Jim Miller. I'm just a guy, and this is the Peak Rants on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer. We'll be right back.
Not something you hear every day, unless you're talking to one of Dr. Craig Summers' patients at Springs Dentist.
It's really important to have a dentist that understood how your teeth and what those human affects everything
joining us for another day and another week on The Peak. You just heard about our citizen journalist program on there, and we've extended it, as we mentioned before, to teaching broadcast journalism in the school system here. How cool is that? So if you are a student, it's going to be a junior or senior coming up, doesn't matter whether you're in D11 or even if you're a homeschooler, you can take part in this. Go to our website, thepeak.news, check out the D11 CTE link, find out all about it, and sign up, and please tell others. We want to have a huge group of people that are learning how to be ethical journalists, how to think critically, how to be a journalist, not an activist, not an influencer, but an actual journalist, and get training that I'll tell you will give you more practical experience. So when you go out to work in this industry that you'll have, including, if you stick around for the second semester, which is optional, launching your own podcast. That's going to be part of the program, and having that, like like Ahana, who is our guest here today. So tomorrow on this station, we are not here. I get Fridays off, but Dirk Hobbs is here with the Southern Colorado Business Forum and Digest. If you haven't heard of Dirk, tune in, because not only does he have that, but he just bought the Business Journal and the Indy. And so I'm not sure if he's talking about yet what he's doing with that, but we're excited. I know Dirk, and excited what he's going to be doing with those publications. Also, stick around right now for the Larry Elder Show coming up next here on The Answer, and check out our 200-plus podcasts at our website, thepeak.news. You're sure to find people and topics that you're interested in. Hopefully will inspire you to take action and maybe come and help us tell the stories here. The Peak, we say the quiet stuff out loud, and with your help, we're going to say it even louder and louder and louder for such a time as this. Have a great weekend. Watchmen out. Shalom.